Om, Om, Om. Now we'll do the affirmation from the book Affirmations for Self-Healing by Swami Ananda ji. This affirmation today is on love. One finds love not by being loved, but by loving. We can never know love if we try to draw others to ourselves, nor can we find it by centering our love in them. For love is infinite, it is never ours to create. We can only channel it from its source in infinity to all whom we meet. The more we forget ourselves in giving to others, the better we can understand what love really is. And the more we can love as channels for God's love, the more we can understand that His is the one love in all the universe. Let's do this affirmation. I will love others as extensions of my own self. And of the love I feel from God. Now, slightly softly, I will love others as extensions of my own self. And of the love I feel from God. Now, only in the whispering tone, I will love others as extensions of my own self. And of the love I feel from God. Now, whispering only, I will love others, or sorry, mentally only, I will love others as extensions of my own self. And of the love I feel from God. O Infinite One, make me a channel for thy love. Through me, reach out to sow seeds of love in barren hearts everywhere. This is from Whispers from Eternity, the rocket of my love. I withdrew the life force from my body. The breath which had kept me tied to the burden of flesh no longer shook my awareness. My rocket of life penetrated through the star in the all seeing eye of light in my forehead. The rocket soared outward, its cone of focused concentration and deep feeling exploded to oneness with the countless atoms of space and with the little points of self awareness in all beings. At last, like an expanded cloud nebula, I embraced the vast spirit beyond space itself to enter the heart of thine omnipresent silence. And this is a reading from Yoganandaji's teachings, his lessons. And this reading is about the topic today. Can love be universalized? The universal nature of love. In the universal sense, love is the divine power of attraction in creation that harmonizes, unites, binds together. It is opposed by the force of repulsion, which is the outgoing cosmic energy that materializes certain creation from the cosmic consciousness of God. Repulsion keeps all forms in the manifested state through Maya, the power of delusion that decides, differentiates, and disharmonizes. The attractive force of love counteracts cosmic repulsion to harmonize all creation and ultimately draw it back to God. Those who live in tune with the attractive force of love achieve harmony with nature and their fellow beings and are attracted to blissful reunion with God. We'll now listen to a couple of songs. These are written and composed by Swamiji. The first song is What is Love by Swami Kriyananda.
Children of this world could not love our own powers. What is joy? Is it just a dream? Or does joy lie in every stream? Are the clouds mindless after all? Or is joy all nature's plea? God is dead, so men say. Can't they see all life's display? Not a church marks him as its own. Not a creed makes him fully known. Foolish we limit him. Every atom is his throne. What is love? Is it only ours? Or does love whisper in the flowers? Surely we, children of this world, could not love our own powers. What is love? What is love? Is it love we touch in the flowers?
And this next song is All the World is My Friend.
All the world is my friend. When I learn how to share my love, when I stretch out my hand and smile, when I live from above. All the world is my friend. When I learn how to share my love, when I stretch out my hand and smile, when I live from above. All the world is my friend. When I learn how to share my love, when I stretch out my hand and smile, when I live from above. All the world is my friend. When I learn how to share my love, when I stretch out my hand and smile, when I live from above, all the world is my friend. When I learn how to share my love, when I stretch out my hand and smile, when I live from above.
Welcome, everyone. The topic today is, can love be universalized? There was a question someone asked Swamiji, that what if there's a murderer and the murderer commits this crime for just, let's say, $10. It's a very small amount. Like, how can we show affection? How can we show love towards a person like this? And Swamiji responded to that. And of course, he has actually mentioned a lot of things, but the way he responded to this person was that he said, think about that how many, how long it takes for a person to reach a point of perfection. And we all are in that same boat. We all have lived millions and millions of incarnations to reach a point where we can achieve perfection. And of course, there are other things that he said, that, of course, it could be the karma of the person to be slain. It is possible that the other person who is murdered has murdered this person in a previous lifetime. There is a karma that comes into play. And, if we cannot feel love, at least we can feel that there is love in, everyone. There is God. Because there is God in everyone, we can love everyone. But some of these things could sound abstract to this person, and that's why they said that think about how many lifetimes it takes for each one of us to perfect and to achieve that perfection in God. And Swamiji often used to say that there are only two, we all want happiness. There are only two things we all want. One is we all want to be happy. We all want to feel the joy. And second, we want to avoid pain in order to feel that happiness. So we all, you can think of us that we all are in that same journey. And that could be a reason to show that love towards everyone. And sometimes it's hard, but when we think about it in the long scheme of things, even if we cannot love others, we can at least show respect towards everyone. Swami Kriyananda ji, and this is something I just saw in the blog that Jyotish ji and Devi ji wrote, their weekly blogs. And this was, I thought about this topic beforehand, but it was amazing that this blog also spoke about universal love. And they spoke about how Swamiji would always, wherever he would go, people would think about him as a friend. Sometimes he would not even be wearing his robes. And, people would walk up to him and just share. They always wanted to share and, share everything or seek advice from him, just because he always carried that persona of love and friendship. And he was always a friend to everyone. And the friendship was not really always at a personal level. Jaya ji, who is the co-spiritual director of Ananda India, along with Naya Swami Dhyana ji, who's going to be visiting us next week. Both of them say that during the entire, lifetime of discipleship, there were maybe only a couple of times they had a personal interaction with Swamiji. But then they always felt, that he is a friend, a divine friend, someone who, who has no expectations from any one of us. His only expectation is that we achieve our own highest potential. That was his only expectation. And so wherever Swamiji went, he traveled everywhere, and everyone would think of him as a friend. Everyone would, there was this story that is mentioned in this blog, is that, once he was actually in the aeroplane, and he was sitting at the back, and then when they started deplaning, like, when they started getting out of the plane, there were two individuals who were sitting right on Jyotish and Devi, and they were saying that who is this person? Like, there should be more people. And they didn't know anything about Swamiji. They didn't know anything. He was not even wearing his robes, right? So, and they were like, who is this person? There should be more such people in this world. And so that is possible if we just love everyone with that thought of that God is present in everyone. We are all in the same journey. Like, for example, if we are traveling together, let's say somewhere, wherever, let's say we are just traveling together in a bus or a plane, and something happens, don't we all each help each other out? And it's the same thing with the journey of life, that we are all going towards the same, whether we know it consciously or unconsciously, we are all headed towards the same goal. And some of us could be more aware, some of us could be less aware. But finally, because we all want that perfect happiness and that perfect joy, and we are all seeking it. The only thing is, sometimes we seek it outside of us instead of inside, and that's when we make mistakes on the journey. Swamiji said that forgiveness is a very good way to to counter sort of that, or to love everyone. So he said that in his past lifetimes, there were cases when he thought that, okay, someone hurt him, then in the next lifetime he would do something to hurt that person, then in the next lifetime again that person would hurt him. And that went on and on and on, until Swamiji had that realization at one point in time, where he said that it's just going to go on and on. I forgive this person right now. And from that time, that karma that was created was just, that was kind of nullified. And so we can go on and on for several lifetimes until we decide at one point in time that, no, I want to choose God. I want to choose bliss. Like, Swamiji said, there are only two choices we really have, whether to accept God's will or to reject God's will. And in other terms, we only have two choices, whether to accept bliss or to reject bliss, or which means we accept or we choose to love, or we choose to do the opposite. And when we choose to love, when we choose to forgive, when we choose to, choose joy over sadness, Swamiji would say that, always live to be happy. Don't live to be sad. And when we do that, we try to go one step closer and closer towards God. And there is another aspect to this. The other aspect is, yes, we want to show that love outwardly, but also when we repeat, let's say someone has betrayed us, or someone has not been good to us, we kind of hurt ourselves twice, right? So this was when there was this fire that came in at Ananda village, and it destroyed a lot of houses. And Swamiji just went to a shop nearby outside the village, and he was singing a song. And the person who was in charge of the shop asked Swamiji that, how come you're so happy? Like, there's a lot that has happened right now at Ananda village, right? There is sort of a calamity. And he said that, what is the point of actually just, rethinking about it and reliving that incident? Rather, if I choose to be happy, if I choose not to get the emotions in, he can help better, right? Like, in that sense, he was, it's not being impractical, it's not being that insensitive, or it's not being away from the situation. But when we choose happiness, when we choose joy, we can actually look at the situation as is, and then do what it takes, act and not react. We have a choice of acting versus choice of reacting. And when we choose to act, then we can, take the right step towards whatever that situation is. And Swamiji once, there's this one reading from Touch of Love, and I'm going to read this. And this is a blog by Swami Devi ji. And in that they said, love heroically. Swami Kriyananda, and this is actually this blog, the title of this blog is about how to build inner power. And the the paragraph that I'm reading, it's called Love Heroically. Swami Kriyananda has said that when times are difficult, either for you personally or in the world around you, the best way to stand strong is to love heroically. In a sense, this is the combination of detachment and mental strength. If you can love others no matter how they act towards you, then you can transform personal love and friendship to expressions of God's divine love. Try it. Don't hold back your love from anyone, friend or foe, and feel the power and freedom that this awakens within you. When we choose to love, when we choose to, love heroically, as it's given in this passage, we actually, we don't give anyone else the power to hurt us. Let's say even intentionally, if someone tries to hurt, we are actually, giving it back with love. Like we are transferring, or transmitting that negative energy into a positive form and then channeling it to God. There would often be times in Ananda village, or when Swamiji was building community, that sometimes there would be people who would be very hard to work with. No one would want to work with them. And then Swamiji would always work with these individuals personally, sometimes even if it's needed. And over a period of time, over 10 years, 15 years, these people would actually show openness, and they would show, and they would transform spiritually, and they would actually accept, whatever guidance Swamiji had to give them. And Swamiji sometimes would wait for 10 years, 15 years to even say just one word to anybody, like that would help in their spiritual progress. And this was, so why, like, then, he said that always choose love over hatred, because hatred is actually, as we read in the reading as well, that it is mostly because it actually affirms delusion, it affirms our ego. But when we choose to love, what happens is, even if it takes time, over a period of time, that love has a transforming power. And you can actually, when you patiently keep loving whatever, the situation, or that individuals, in the great scheme of things, what happens is, at some point, that acts as a solution, that opens that person up for the divine love. But instead, and as we said that, in the long, this is all in the long run, instead, if we choose to hate, or not love, then that process goes on and on and on for even more lifetimes. And in the greater scheme of things, loving individuals, harmonizing around us, it's only a tool to, direct our love towards God. And, finally, as we were doing the chant as well, that finally we want to find that place where, if whoever around us, we are loving from that place of loving God. We love others because it's an extension of loving God, because love itself is in the very atoms of this universe. Love is that binding force, it's in all of us. And when we actually love, we harmonize ourselves with the universal love, and then finally with the divine love. And that is the essence of devotion, because devotion has that binding force. When we love God, when we love Divine Mother, when we love everyone around us, that has that force to transform us and make us one in God's light. And that is why choosing love over anything else is probably, something that we must all aspire towards. Okay.